It started as a powerful tech company built for US spies. Now it's an AI powerhouse, influencing border control and war. What's next for Palantir and for us? Also on the show, could an encyclopedia written by AI take on Wikipedia? We'll take a closer look at Elon Musk's newest project, Grokpedia. And what can the AWS outage in October teach us about cloud infrastructure and digital sovereignty? Let's get into it. When a company that builds tools for spies, shapes wars, and influences immigration becomes one of the most valuable and powerful tech firms on Earth, how does it affect us? Palantir is a US data analytics giant founded by elusive tech billionaire Peter Thiel. And in November, it reached a market cap of roughly $491 billion. That makes it one of the hottest names in tech. But Palantir is controversial. It's under fire for its work with the Israeli Ministry of Defense and ICE, the US immigration agency. So, what's behind the meteoric rise of this AI powerhouse? Let's break it down. Where does Palantir come from? It all started with spies. In 2003, Palantir, backed by the CIA's venture arm, began building tools for counterterrorism and intelligence agencies. Later, the FBI and NSA started working with Palantir too. The company is named after the Palantir seeing stones in The Lord of the Rings. The logo is a simplified version of one. Today, Palantir shapes the way wars are fought. Its software powers battlefield decisions from targeting to logistics, supported by billion-dollar defense contracts. And it's become a major player in immigration. Palantir systems help ICE track and deport immigrants, sparking big debates about privacy and civil rights. One of Palantir's early investors and co-founders is Peter Thiel. You might also know him as the co-founder of PayPal and as Facebook's first outside investor. Another Palantir co-founder, Alex Karp, the company's CEO since 2004. Both Thiel and Karp are billionaires with strong ties to the US government. Today, Palantir operates in over 50 countries, serving governments and companies in defense, healthcare, finance, and manufacturing. One of Palantir's biggest clients, the US government and its agencies. Okay, but what does that mean? What does Palantir actually do? Palantir doesn't collect data. It builds platforms that help organizations analyze their own data. For example, Foundry, which is used by commercial clients from pharma to airlines. Gotham is used by intelligence and law enforcement for missions like counterterrorism and battlefield awareness. Think of it as a decision-making system powered by AI. Take Palantir's work with ICE. The system Palantir created integrates data from several US federal agencies. It can quickly process biometric and surveillance data, also information like vehicle license plate scans and border entry logs. And it can track people in near real time. As a result, it can flag people based on patterns and route cases to ICE offices automatically. Palantir isn't only being used by the US government, it's also become a valuable tool for the Israeli government. Palantir has a strategic deal with Israel's defense ministry for AI-driven battlefield analytics. The company has so far been rather secretive about the use of its tech in the Gaza conflict, but reports claim that Palantir software is integrated into AI targeting systems used by the Israeli military in Gaza, and that Palantir's software helps generate target lists by analyzing surveillance, communications, and intelligence data. Critics say Palantir is indirectly responsible for civilian casualties. Others say it's just a company selling tools. Fact is, Palantir has been surrounded by controversy. In the US, protesters have blocked Palantir offices in cities like New York, Palo Alto, and Seattle. The protesters demand that the company cut ties with ICE and the Israeli military. Some accuse Palantir of enabling mass tracking. These protests echo criticism from human rights groups around the world. Palantir denies building tools for mass surveillance. They argue that their software supports lawful investigations and national security. When it comes to working with Israel, Palantir claims their tech helps reduce harm by improving targeting precision. And the company emphasizes its ethics framework, saying it only works with partners who share its values, transparency, accountability, and the rule of law. Palantir has also stressed that its systems are built for augmented intelligence, meaning humans stay in control of decisions. Bottom line, there's a clash between national security and human rights, and Palantir is right at the center. The question is, do we want to use powerful surveillance technologies that potentially threaten our personal freedom, or is the price for more security simply too high? What do you think? Tech billionaire Elon Musk wants to rewrite the internet's encyclopedia with AI. In October, his company xAI launched Grokpedia, an AI-powered platform meant to rival Wikipedia. Musk has called the idea a massive improvement. He wants to offer what he calls algorithmic truth instead of human bias. But what does it mean when a company wants to replace a non-profit, community-driven project that's been preserving knowledge for over 2 decades? Let's break it down. Wikipedia versus Grokkipedia. Musk has a long history of mocking Wikipedia. In 2023, he offered them $1 billion to rename it Digipedia for a year. He's not the only critic though. Wikipedia has had its share of issues, from factual errors to systemic bias. And yes, Wikipedia can also be slow and messy. As an open source project, it depends on volunteers around the world to write, fact-check and update articles. Musk's pitch for Grokkipedia? A knowledge base, updated in real time. Articles instantly curated by AI. Sounds efficient. But here's the catch. Grok, the AI behind the encyclopedia, might be able to scan massive amounts of data and write articles, but the reasoning, the logic behind it all, is not made public. To users, it's a black box. When AI makes a mistake or hallucinates, it's difficult to investigate what went wrong. There's no clear trail of sources, no human accountability. Grokkipedia runs on the same large language model as chatbot Grok, and that model has had some serious issues this year. In May, Grok expressed doubts about Holocaust facts. In July, it made anti-Semitic comments in response to user prompts. It even started calling itself Mecha Hitler. XAI says those bugs were fixed, but there's no guarantee that there won't be similar problems in Grokkipedia articles. Wikipedia's greatest strength is transparency and verifiability. Every controversial claim needs a citation. Every edit is logged publicly. You can see the discussions, the changes, the reasoning. You know why something is written there. Grokkipedia shows a list of sources, but we don't know why the AI picked them or how it analyzed and evaluated them. There's no editorial board, no public review process, just the algorithm deciding what stays and what goes. We're being asked to trust Grokkipedia blindly and the company behind it. Which brings us to the next problem. Should one company oversee the world's go-to online encyclopedia? From community to corporation? Wikipedia has always followed a simple principle: to aim for a neutral point of view. It's run by a global community. It's free, non-commercial and funded by donations. The platform's flaws are no secret, and its structure is designed to resist corporate or political control. Grokkipedia, on the other hand, is a for-profit product of XAI. And unlike Wikipedia, it could be monetized through ads, subscriptions, or data. If one company or one person controls the AI that writes the world's most important encyclopedia, they influence public opinion and shape what we believe to be true. Musk has said that Wikipedia is woke, meaning it's leaning towards the left political spectrum. But Grokkipedia could be even more biased. Its bias would just be hidden inside the algorithm. Because, let's be clear, algorithms aren't neutral. They're built by humans with human assumptions. And the data they're trained on, often scraped from the web, can reflect existing biases, misinformation, or even hate speech. And ironically, Grokkipedia scrapes a lot of data from Wikipedia. Apart from that, can we question Grokkipedia's takes? Can we still question a viewpoint or take when it's generated by an algorithm? Well, Grokkipedia doesn't allow an open debate. You can submit a correction form if you think an article is wrong, but the final decision will be made by AI in the majority of cases. That means the chance to question, verify, and discuss articles will be lost. Bottom line, the efficiency and speed promised by AI are compelling, and Grokkipedia might be a powerful tool. But if you ask me, knowledge should stay open source, transparent, and free from corporate control. The true encyclopedia for humanity must be built by humans, not just for humans. What do you think? Snapchat, Signal, and Slack glitching. Games like Roblox and Fortnite totally down. Even payment apps like Venmo and crypto platforms like Coinbase froze. These are just a few examples of more than 1,000 online services that were affected by the AWS outage in October. AWS runs a massive part of the internet, about 1/3 of all cloud services worldwide. AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud, 3 US tech giants, supply the infrastructure for 60% of all online services. This gives them a lot of control. So, what does it mean for us users when one of them crashes? And are there any real alternatives out there? Let's break it down. Cloud computing monopolies. Amazon, Google, and Microsoft run the backbone of the web. They host your favorite apps, store massive amounts of data, and keep businesses online. How? By running huge networks of data centers all around the world. That's great for companies because they don't need to build their own infrastructure. That would take a very long time and be too expensive, especially if we are a small startup trying to grow. Instead, companies rent servers from AWS, Azure, or Google Cloud. That way, they are online immediately. But that kind of concentrated power can be risky. Cloud computing infrastructure is very complex. One technical glitch in a core structure can have devastating consequences for everything connected to it. The AWS outage proved this. Streaming services, banking, even smart homes went dark, all because of one single data center failure in the US. So, what happened? In simple terms, AWS failed to direct people to websites and services they were trying to reach for several hours. However, using the infrastructure of big providers does have a lot of upsides for companies. If one data center goes down, traffic can quickly shift to another one nearby. That means your favorite apps stay online, even if there's a power outage or natural disaster somewhere. This is called redundancy. Then there's the so-called auto-scaling. This means apps or services can easily handle demand spikes. Thanks to the global infrastructure, users get faster load times and less lag. And finally, by using the infrastructure of the big players, it's easier to comply with local laws. Some countries require data to stay within borders, but data centers of the big three are nearly everywhere. It all comes down to this. Without Amazon, Microsoft, Google, and a few others, a lot of the apps you use every day wouldn't even exist. At least not as we know them. Digital technologies are the American export success story of the last decades. But under President Trump, confidence in US tech companies has dropped. Is digital sovereignty possible? Trump's administration has made clear that it could weaponize its tech dominance through tariffs and restrictions. What if Trump decided to flip a switch and turn the internet off in a country to exert political pressure? That's why regions like the EU and India are pushing for their own digital solutions to avoid being impacted by US decisions. With the Eurostack plan, the EU wants to invest 300 billion euros over a decade to build its own independent infrastructure. That includes building independent servers and systems for critical infrastructure. So Europe wouldn't fully rely on US tech giants anymore. But creating reliable global services, it takes time, money, and massive coordination. That's why many experts call for a clear international cooperation framework, so that the digital gap doesn't get wider than it already is. Cooperation could also help make the global internet more robust, especially against the threat of cyber attacks. What do you think? Should countries build their own internet or work together globally? That's all from me today. Bye and see you next time.